guys! So you've probably already guessed what this video is about by the title, no surprises I can assure you. But yeah, I wanted to do a video about my diagnosis. I did a little poll to see what you guys wanted to see in this one, so I thought that made most sense. I did make some notes on my laptop and my laptop's not working, so I'm going to have to try and recall all of the information because I was diagnosed 5 years ago now. So it's been a long time. I've slept many times since then. So trying to remember it all was really difficult when I was making the notes, but I think I can remember it. My laptop is currently deciding to restart itself and update itself, which is great. Always extremely helpful. But yes, okay, so I'm 20 years old. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when I was 15. However, I started to get ill and started to get symptoms when I was 14. Around the October time of 2012, I want to say, I started to get sickness, diarrhea, just really simple things normally related to common bugs, which is what we thought it was. Just a bit of stomach pain, nothing too serious. Didn't really have any time off school for it. It went and came back after a few weeks, and at that point I did have like a day off school here and there. Had to go speak to my GP, who said that it's just a bug. There's lots of bugs going round as it gets closer to winter, change of season, just general stuff like that. So she just kind of said just to leave it and I'd be fine eventually. So we did, and then we carried on through Christmas, went through into the new year, and it was still quite persistent. Spoke to my GP about it quite a lot, and she recommended that maybe I speak to the hospital. She made me an appointment. We had a slight consultation. Nothing really got done about it. So considering this started in October, we're now in March 2013 and things are still going on. I mean, at the beginning I was probably missing one day off school a week, and then by the time we got to around March I was going to school one day a week because it was that bad. Sickness, diarrhea, struggling to eat, lots of stomach pain. Things were just getting a bit more intense in general. Okay, so now we're in March, and I think it was like the day after my 15th birthday, I had really bad sickness, just constant, repeatedly, to the point where all that green horrible stuff started coming up. It was honestly horrible. My mum took me to the local hospital through A&E, and we was there overnight. They couldn't really do any tests on the spot or scans on the spot as such. It was more just feeling my abdominal area, trying to see if it felt abnormal or anything like that. And that's when things started to get a little bit more stressful and frustrating for me and my mum, really. They first tried to diagnose me with appendicitis. They made a surgeon come up who ridiculed the idea completely. He was like, it's definitely not appendicitis. This has been going on way too long. If it's appendicitis, your appendix would have burst by now. He looked at and felt my abdominal area and he said, look, it's no signs of anything like that. So that was a no-go. Then one of the nurses came and spoke to me and questioned whether I had an eating disorder, which was very difficult for me and my mum, because my mum was just like completely dismissive of the idea, obviously, because she's my mum and she spends a lot of time with me, and in her opinion she would know if I did, which I didn't, obviously. And they questioned whether it wasn't a case of that I couldn't eat, but more so that I didn't want to eat. And it was just very frustrating, really. I don't think they were understanding my symptoms and what I'd been through and how long it'd been going on and how much I was trying to get help more than anything. So at this point my mum was just completely like, we're not staying at this hospital, they're not taking it seriously. Went to my GP and was referred to a different hospital in Birmingham, a children's hospital, as I was under 18. So I started having appointments there. They straight away wanted to get scans organised, to take biopsies, MRI scans. I had to have the jelly scan. An ultrasound was a bit weird when you're not having one when you're pregnant. But yeah, lots of different types of scans and biopsies. I had to have a scope, I had to have an endoscopy and colonoscopy, which I was put to sleep for, so they could take little snippings and test everything. They straight away thought Crohn's disease or colitis. They weren't 100% sure. There was still a lot of investigating that needed to be done, really. So it was just seeing how it went. they decided to put me on a liquid diet because they could see how much I was struggling. I couldn't keep meals down. I was severely losing weight. I was only 15 at this point, so I went from being about 7 stone to 4 stone in a very short space of time. I was a bag of skin and bones, like honestly nothing. There was nothing to me, and people who saw me every day didn't really notice, but people who didn't see me for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, as little a time as that, and then saw me, they really could see in my face and in my body in general the weight I was losing. So they put me on a liquid diet of 46, which is like a nutritional health supplement. It's a meal replacement if necessary, and I had to drink like 8 to 9 of those a day for 8 weeks instead of food. No food, nothing, just lots of water. And that was really horrible, because those of you that know me know how much I love food. Food is life. Food is love. It makes me happy. So it was really difficult to go so long without eating. That was definitely one of the biggest struggles I've had since having Crohn's, and the diagnosis was the battle with food, especially when you're someone that loves food as much as me. So I was on a liquid diet for 8 weeks, and then I was advised that on the first day of eating solid foods to eat soft foods, light meals, nothing too heavy. So I remember for breakfast I think I had just like a bit of cereal, and then for lunch just some soup, and then for dinner it was like a jacket potato or something like that, and I felt great. Like I was so happy to be eating again, no pain, nothing. I went to bed, watched a film. I don't remember what film it was, but I remember watching a film and drifting off, and about an hour later waking up in absolute excruciating pain. The sickness started instantly. No diarrhoea as such, just constant sickness, and that carried on till the morning. I started to feel a little bit better. I think it was more than anything, I'd got everything up. There wasn't really much more that could come out of me at this point. I was pretty much empty. So I remember my mum checking on me, and she had to go to work, but she told me obviously my nan and granddad live across the road. If I need her, call her. If I need them, call them. But I thought I'd be fine. This is the thing with Crohn's, is I think a lot of people are more in denial than anything, and I think I didn't really know what it was, so I just thought I was being sick. I thought, oh, I'll be fine. So I lay in bed, and I kind of let myself get worse and worse, and constantly being sick. And by the time my mum come home from work, she had to take me straight to Birmingham, straight to the hospital, straight to A&E. The whole lining of my stomach was coming up. I couldn't physically drink anything. When I got to the hospital, they rushed me through A&E really quickly. It's the quickest I've ever been through A&E. But that was scary, because they clearly could see that there was something wrong with me, and they put me straight on a drip. I was so dehydrated. I hadn't eaten, drank anything all day, and because everything had left my body, there was just nothing left to give. And they actually did advise afterwards. I remember the next day, it hadn't really hit me how serious it was, and the next day I heard one of the nurses telling my mum that if I hadn't have come and been put on a drip instantly, then I probably wouldn't have made it much longer, because there was just nothing left to give. My body was exhausted, really. That was the beginning of me being admitted into hospital for 4 weeks. For 4 weeks. Being admitted into hospital for 4 weeks was not great, I'd say. I was in a private room at first, still not diagnosed at this point. So the story's quite long, because I still wasn't diagnosed at this point. Still trying to see what it is, and ahhing. I was in a private room. Family would visit, friends would visit, and then I got moved into a communal ward, which was really weird for me at first. I think when you're ill, you don't want to be reminded that you're ill by being surrounded by more ill people. It's really weird kind of environment, but I did meet some lovely people. I met some friends there, some people that like I have a lot of respect for. Everyone going through different things. It was what helped me get through. It was all of us going through something different, but just as difficult. And while I was in hospital, I continued to have more scans, and then more biopsies. I'm sure I had another endoscopy, colonoscopy, because my intestine or the inside was so swollen and so scarred. It was very difficult for them to get to the bit where they needed to take the biopsy from. They couldn't get the camera and the scissors and stuff through. to take a snip in, and the scans just weren't showing what they needed. They didn't want to diagnose me with something and be wrong. I mean, it's not like it doesn't happen. People are often diagnosed with things like I know that Crohn's disease has been mistaken for bowel cancer before, and it's like they don't want to take that risk. It's like a really scary thing to do. So lots of tests and making sure that they had the correct diagnosis for me, which was great because the care at the hospital was amazing. They really did do their best to help me, and my consultant there was absolutely lovely. Unfortunately, I had to leave the hospital when I turned 18, so not there anymore, but it was absolutely lovely. The care was amazing. So yeah, there wasn't really any medication they could give me at this point, because without diagnosing you, they can't just start pumping you full of drugs. So just a drip and just making sure I was eating light meals and trying to keep everything down. They would really monitor everything, like even bowel movements were constantly monitored. You couldn't go anywhere without being monitored in that place. It was a bit intense, but no, it was worth it in the long run. So about 3 weeks into my lovely hospital stay, I remember my consultant came around to see me, and she told me that it was definitely Crohn's disease, and they were going to diagnose me with Crohn's, and that I could instantly be started on medication, which was very exciting. I know it sounds sad, but like honestly, just knowing what it is, I think when you don't know what it is, your mind just creates situations, and it's like, oh, it could be this, it could be that. And even though having Crohn's disease isn't fun, it was just nice to know what it was and that they could do something to help me. I was put on steroids straight away, I was put on azathioprine straight away, and I was also put on infliximab straight away. So I started infusions of infliximab and taking lots of tablets every day, which was a lot for me to get used to, because before I had Crohn's disease, I hated swallowing tablets. I couldn't swallow tablets at all. So yeah, definitely got over that one. Also needles, don't faze me now. There's certain things that you really have no choice but to get used to when you have this kind of illness, which many of you probably can relate to with any kind of illness where you've got to have lots of blood tests, take lots of tablets, lots of infusions and scans here and there being put to sleep. You get used to a lot of things that you never thought that you would. It's really odd. But yeah, at the end of like 3.5 weeks, I'd been diagnosed, and I was starting to get some medication. It was really weird because I didn't actually know what Crohn's disease was. I still am learning every single day. It's been 5 years and I still learn more and more that I didn't even know, which is great in a way, but still scary. But yeah, I had no clue what it was at 15. Crohn's disease, had never heard it before. I knew that Dynamo had it, that was it. But yeah, it was weird. None of my friends had heard of it before. My mum had never heard of it before. Lots of people had never heard of it before. But more than anything, it was just nice to know that they had something they could give me and help me with. So yeah, my diagnosis was really weird. It lasted a really long time, from the October of 2012 to like the June, July of 2013. I think with time and with education, hopefully people's diagnosis will happen a lot quicker than mine. I don't know, it could be quicker now for all I know. I don't know anyone that's been diagnosed, so it hopefully has come a long way since then. But that's the main reason why I want to start speaking about it more, because I do feel like if it had a better platform and more people knew about it and more people were educated and more people contributed to the charities, and I feel like that way people would get help quicker, because there is no cure. Ultimately, there is no cure. Once it gets to a certain point, they can't bring it back, but they can prevent. And I think that's the main thing. I think if I was diagnosed a lot quicker, I probably would have been prevented from having the operation that I had to have 2 years after I was diagnosed, because they would have been able to prevent the scarring. However, obviously that happened. That's life. I'm over it. I dealt with it. But that is the main reason why I want to do more videos like this and do more blogs like this, and just get more involved in the charity, more involved in getting information out there, because it is really important to me. I think I was so young when I was diagnosed, like mentally more than anything. I know 15 doesn't sound very young, but when I was 15, I was a child. I was like most 15-year-olds nowadays. like strutting around doing makeup and shopping in all these designer shops. I was a proper 15-year-old child, and I really didn't understand what it was, and I really took my health for granted. I didn't look after myself even after I was diagnosed. So really it's just getting it out there. So yeah, I'd like to say a big happy irritable bowel disease day. Let's get the awareness out there. Please like, comment and share. I'll have all my socials below, so you can find me on Twitter and on Facebook, and you can find the link to my actual blog as well, so have a look at that. See if you can subscribe to newsletters and stuff, so you know when I write things. But yeah, I have enjoyed doing this video. I will be doing some writing stuff as well. Like, I won't just be doing videos all the time. I'll still be writing because I love to write. So, but here, you guys wanted to see this. This is what you wanted to see, my diagnosis story. And here it is. I hope you've enjoyed. Bye.